But remember Indonesia's first president, Sukarno? Well, you remember, right? Of course. Once he claimed that he can take the world by surprise just with 10 young men. This perfectly describes the important role of the youth in the world.
Yes, and apart from contributing in major cities, the youth are also needed in more remote areas.
Many may find it hard to work with the indigenous peoples of Indonesia due to their limited general knowledge, and despite this, the indigenous people are important for Indonesia since they are the best eco-conservationists.
This is because their culture and livelihood depend on forests, clean water, and other natural resources, making them highly driven to keep their land sustainable. But apart from that, they're also the best preservers of culture and tradition. All of these show that they have immense potential. And now to know more about the youth role in indigenous people, we're now connected with Sumarni Laman as a Dayak activist and managing director of Ranu Willum Foundation. Good afternoon, Sumarni.
Hello, good afternoon, Tabe. Greetings from Central Kalimantan.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for what it is you're doing, because you're not only, gaining a lot more awareness about how young people and how the indigenous people are living in Indonesia, but also making sure that they get to have a sustainable future as well. Now, there is a lot of stigma when it comes to indigenous people, right? You hear a lot of stories, and as a Dayak activist, which one would you love to eliminate the most about the Dayaks, and why do you think you want to eliminate them in the first place?
Well, actually, there are so many stigma that people frequently address to me, especially when I visit another cities such as Jakarta. But one of the highlights is, they frequently say me, are you a headhunter? You are still living in plenitude. Where is your tail? Something like that. But one thing that I really wanted to address is about the slash and burn practices, because I remember in 2015 and 2019, where there was a big forest fire happened in Indonesia. Many media say that indigenous Dayak is the main actor behind the fires. Yes, we do have the slash and burn practice in our farming traditions, but we, in thousands of years, we never create such a big forest fire, because we do have wisdom in protecting the fire. We do have control fires that make the high frequency of the fire, but with low intensity. So it's like really managing the fire in a very sustainable way.
I actually read something about this, and the Dayaks are not the only culture who practice this. Yeah, the Aboriginals in Australia also do that, and people now are actually resorting to these practices to learn from your indigenous culture, because there is a possibility due to climate change, this is the way you stop massive forest fires that's been happening around the world. And I thank you for that statement, because this is something that needs to be very, very much addressed, and people are now actually looking at indigenous people to learn from them when it comes to forest fires.
Wow. Yeah, thank you for reminding that, Kai. And also, yes, we are so grateful that we have you. So with the Ranu Willum Foundation, now you want to empower the Dayak to be more developed. How is it so important in terms of the youth role in this platform that you are trying to do?
I could say the young people. Me, I'm still young people.
Yes,
so
you are.
We are the future. The future guardian of our traditions and forests, because many of our tradition is unwritten. So it's like, and to keep protecting that, you have to practice that. And so that's why young people really have this very important role in preserving the cultures. But another aspect, I would say that, in Kalimantan, we experience these big massive destructions of every year we experience natural disasters such as forest fires and flooding nowadays, but in this kind of situation, I could really see the power of youth, how young people come together to help the people. Like, for example, during the forest fire in 2015 and 2019, we fought in the front line with the with the local firefighters, and we also use our skill, like we engage our medical teams to go to the rural area that's very far away to give a free medical checkup for the affected people. And during the flood, we collecting money so we can provide meals for the babies that's impacted because of the flood. So it's really I could say that sometimes people only see young people from one eyes, but it's truly, if you can really engage young people, you can see how they use their power and skill and their heart to the community and to the people.
Right.
Right. So Sumarni, let's dig more to the topic of the role of your role for developing of youth, Dayak youth, to be more developed. So actually, what role that you take part in Dayaks, and what did you do? What have been you doing until right now to help Dayak youth to be more developed?
So actually, there are 4 main activities that we are doing. First, strengthening our roots, the Dayak root, because we believe that when you have the strong foundations, you will, especially in this modern world where so many cultures and globalizations, you will not, if you not have a strong foundations, you will not have a fundamental standings for your people. So that's why we connecting the young people with the elders so they can learn about their traditions, their cultures. Second, we do a leadership trainings. We believe that we do a lot of leadership training to empower the young people so they can use their skill to their patience, so they can do something for be part of the solutions for the community. And we engage them to be leaders for the, like I mentioned before, fire relief missions, flood relief missions, climate justice, and leading tree planting movement. And we also do soft skill and media trainings. We do believe that storytelling play an important role in touching people's heart and and changing the stigma that you your very first questions about the Dayak. So that's why we really use the media as our platform to tell the story about us and to also engage people to join hands together in our movement. And also one thing that I really love also help them to develop their wings. When you have a strong root, you will come back to your community no matter what. But we do also believe that as a young people, you have to develop your wings. You can fly away, you can go to many places, learn from many people. So you can gain as much as knowledge and skill from others. So that's why in Ranuwelum we also provide a learning opportunity like internships or also short course in another countries. I'm just returned from US last year though.
Wow. So
nice.
You are still studying, if
Well
I'm not
spoken.
mistaken. I overheard you were graduating soon, and you must have been really, really busy. This is really, really good on you. I mean, I love hearing the story. As somebody who's, been spreading their wings, I can very much relate that the roots are everything. And no matter where you fly to, if you know where home is, you will eventually come back, and that's the big truth.
Really,
Now, the question is, you've been doing so much to empower your fellow Dayak youth. And what my question is, have you encountered any challenges when it comes to perhaps convincing them in the beginning that this is necessary, that we have to fly by with time as well?
Yes, it is. So many actually challenges, but 2 things that I would to highlight is first the commitment. Young people, because we are still wanted to find who we are, so sometimes we just wanted to try something new, right? And that's the problem about the commitment, right? So in a movement, you really need someone who really commit their times and their heart. But sometimes because they still find who they are, they will stay for a while, but then go away. So that's something that's really hard to really make people have a commitment and also focus in the movement. So.
All right. So as we mentioned before, we cannot forget where we come from. So you are trying to empower the youth, the Dayaks to be more developed. So how do you keep the adat Dayak stays so that it's not forgotten?
Okay, that's a very, very good question. First is language, I could say. I am a rural kid. I'm growing up in a village, and then because of my education, you know, in the rural area, it's very hard for you to get a better education. So that's why I moved to the city for pursuing my study. But now in the city, you cannot practice your language. But the most, you know, something that I found is language is very important for you to understand your culture, to understand your story, to understand the wisdom. But then when you do not speak your language, your mother language, the Dayak Ngaju language, or another Dayak language, you will lose the connections to the people, to your community, and even to the forest. So that's why, to answer your questions, the most important thing is for you to learn your language. When you learn your language, you can understand other things, like you can practice dance. If you have a passion in music, you do music. But if you have a passion in preserving the cultures, preserving the forest, you can then do that too.
You know what? You sound so wise for so young.
Yes.
I feel like I'm listening to my mother speak to me when I was younger, because this is exactly everything she said.
And you know, since you've mentioned by yourself talking about the education, and since all of your answer is so impressive for me, so I would like to know, talking about yourself, how did you come with this idea, like introducing, like keeping your root as Dayak youth people, and at the same time spread the wings to learn from other community? It's so impressive to know that you. I don't have any like experience yet that you come from a rural girl. It's become just you are international. A young person, but still with a very rooted in mind. So tell us about the journey, how you become like this.
Well, it will be a long story, but I will make it short. Something that I could say that I'm a very lucky person. I have so much privilege as a rural kid, growing up in small village, and then following my mom to go to the city to pursuing my study. Because, you know, not every kid in the Dayak rural area have the privilege to go study even to the city, because it's very hard. You sometimes have to live with your own, or even someone you do not ever knows. So I really wanted to say, for you girl who really, you know, have the strength, have the resistance to do that, is really amazing for the people. And so that's why also why I'm joining Ranu Wellums, because I could see Ranu Wellum gives so much opportunity for us to connect with other people who really have the heart to support the Dayak. So I have so many mentors that you know, giving me, sharing their life story too. And also something that really changed me is connecting to the elders. You know, you say that I'm, for someone who's still so young like me, but I sound so wise. It's because I listen so much to my elders.
Wow.
And it's something that I see, every time I visit the village, I will sit with my elders and listen to their story and listen to the wisdom. And that's why it's also something that I also wanted to encourage more young people. Sometimes we also not really wanted to connect to our elders, just because we feel like we have a difference. You know, there is a gap sometimes. But when you do that, so much wisdom on it. So
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So I have a little bit more more question to you. So you've mentioned that you are from Central Kalimantan, right? So maybe you can mention where you were from the first time, what area of rural area that you've mentioned, and you went to the city. What name of the city you went to? Palangkaraya or some other city?
Yeah. So I was born in Kampuri village, but then because of my family jobs, we moved to many rural areas. So I lived to an area who doesn't have electricity when I was 4. Even a senior. So that's why when I was young, I still enjoying the life of no internet and no phone. And then in 2000, I moved to Palangkaraya city.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just very interested to asking this question to you. I mean, Kalimantan is very well known as the lung of Indonesia, perhaps the lung of the world, but at the same time, we know that, you know, development needs to go hand in hand with the nature. So how do you face this? I mean, the indigenous people are usually the guardian of the nature, and how do you face the developments that are taking place in Kalimantan and perhaps change, you know, the bit of things over there?
Well, I really love these questions because first, forest is sometimes people see forest as a money, only see forest as resources. But for us, the Dayak, we see the connections, we see the natures as part of our history, as part of our traditions, and also not only human and animal and plant that living in the area, but also unseen spirits, we call it forest spirits, that live in the area, and we respect that. So for people who live in modern world, they didn't see this kind of aspect, that we are living in harmony with another creatures in this world. So you can see, like in many Dayak, we have so many traditions, ritual to respect the ancient people who live also in the forest. So in our life, we always see we have to live in harmony with the natures. We can only source things and take things as we need, not as much as we can. Right. But now the development, they always want money. I want profits, right? Yeah. So they didn't see the aspect of sustainability of the forest, and also how this also in the long run impacting the people, the habitat of the forest, and also the home of the spirit who live in the forest. So it's really heartbreaking for me when I see like the development that going on in our area. Yes, we do need the development. We love that also. Now we have internet. Now we have high school in the village. But now we can make a development that also with the sustainability, right? But yeah. That's why it's so heartbreaking to see, like if you use drone, you can see how many we are losing our forest now, and that it's really impact the people in our area because they are losing the source of their life and also the connections to the ancestor and also to the connections for our future too.
Wow, I'm very wowed by her storytelling.
Me too.
She's on fire.
Me too. She's on fire.
You've been to Kalimantan for.
I was gonna ask.
IKM, you know.
I wanted to ask you a question. We are moving our capital city to Kalimantan. And I know that the effort that the president and the officials want is to reforest the dead forest. What is your take in this? And our last question will be, what is your hope for the Dayak community in the future, especially now that all eyes are on you coming to, you know, the new capital city of Indonesia?
Okay, first is I wish for the people to give more space for the Dayak to speak up. If you see the history, if you talk about forest fires and you really dig a research about this, you can understand why the destruction happens in Kalimantan is because people do not really listen to our voices, right? Because they neglect the wisdoms that we already developed for thousands of years. So I actually support the development of the new IKA, and as long as they make this in very sustainable manners and see there is a people who live in the area and also the improvement that need to be protected. So I wish in the future, and now, not in the future, but now, people give more space for the Dayak to speak up, to also doing this development together, for us to also can share our wisdom, our knowledge that we have. So when we are making a plan, it's not only just from people outside our community, because people who know best about the improvements, know best about the home, is people who live in the area, right? So that's one thing that I would like to highlight. And also, I also wish with the movings of the new capital, it's give like, actually there are many places in rural Kalimantan who doesn't have a health facility and education. So that's why in Ranuwelu, during the flood or during the fires season, we frequently travel to the area. Young people have to do that. Why? Because people are suffering always during the disaster. So I hope like more developments, but also they keep this by respecting the culture, the tradition, and the wisdom of the people.
So you do not leave
Sumarni,
out
thank you so much for your story. We're absolutely baffled, and you know what? I wish you all the best in the future, and we hope to see you and cover more stories of you and everything that you do, for sure.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so
Bye
much.
for now.
Tabe.
Tabe, bye.
Bye.